couple of matters. One is pretrial, and the other is an arraignment on a bond violation. I just signed the request for bond violation this morning. It is alleged in the bond violation that between the dates of August 15th, 2025 and August 24th, 2025, there was a violation of the court's no contact order. Mr. Hartel, were you aware of that violation?
I was. It was brought to my attention earlier today by the prosecutor.
Mr. Fryer, you do have the right to have a contested hearing regarding that bond violation, and at which time the prosecution would be required to present evidence to show that a violation had occurred, or you could enter a guilty plea to the violation today. Mr. Hartel, how does your client wish to proceed?
We would ask for a contested hearing, Your Honor. It's my understanding that people might be asking to set this out. We would not object to that.
So I assume there's no resolution to the underlying case as well. Is that correct?
That is also correct.
Mr. Carnes?
Your Honor, I did just discover this early this morning, and I would need additional time to prepare for it here.
All right, the court will set this matter for a contested hearing. We'll have it before the final pretrial. How much time do you think you need, Mr. Carnes?
1 week would be sufficient.
We don't have a judge that day, do we?
Have to go to the 24th.
Will Monday, well, no, I'm not here
Or
Monday.
Friday the 19th.
Will Friday the 19th work?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Hartel, will that work for you?
I'll have to check real quick if that's all right.
Sure. I don't believe there's circuit court that day, but I could be wrong.
Very safe and sorry.
In the afternoon.
I am seeing that I have some things in the afternoon. It might be here in district 11, 2 o'clock,
It looks
2:15.
like you have a PD on Taylor Hendricks in the afternoon at 2:30.
And then they just asked for a couple other things. Motions.
Yes, so if it was
Yeah.
after that, it should be fine.
We'll set it for then. Mr. Carnes, a question I have for you. It looks like this was reported through the victim impact statement. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
When was that victim impact statement received?
August 29th, Your Honor.
Any comment regarding bond in the meantime, Mr. Hartel?
Yes, Your Honor, I would ask for bond to continue, as the court did note, as far as I'm understanding, these allegations stem from before my client's more recent history, and I don't believe there's been any allegations of him committing violations while under this court's order. So I would ask to continue bond while pending these allegations. I do believe that's appropriate. For what it does help, he has been waiting patiently, and I don't believe he's flight risk either.
Mr. Carnes?
Your Honor, I just asked the court to remind the defendant that there's a contact order, as well as a no threatening or harassing behavior order. I would ask the court to add a condition of no weapons or firearms in possession while on bond.
Am I reading the statement correctly that you're using for the basis of the violation that as soon as he got out, he started asking where I was?
Your Honor, that would be part of it, as well as it sounds like he was at the house when she wasn't there, which isn't a violation of the bond as was ordered by the court. But that at 1 time he was in the vicinity changing the TV channel or controlling the TV with his phone, I think that's certainly harassing and a violation of the contact order.
But it's alleged that all that happened after he was released from jail.
Yes, Your Honor.
Will counsel approach? All right, well, while the court does have concerns for a potential violation of the no contact order based on the request from the prosecutor's office, I will continue the bond as previously set with the added condition that the defendant not purchase or possess any firearms or weapons. And a reminder that no contact means no contact of any kind. We'll be back here on the 19th. Sir, you can go out to the front window where you checked in and get your next court date.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, court calls the people of the state of Michigan versus Angela Joy Gidley. Sorry about that. Case number 253506 SM. Appearances counsel.
Courtney Lawrence on behalf of the people. Betsy Moss on behalf of Angela Gidley, who's present and seated to my right.
All right. And we're here for a plea and sentence. Is that accurate?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
Do we have an agreement?
We do, Your Honor. It's my understanding the defendant will plead guilty to count 1. In return, the people will dismiss count 2. There is also an agreement to pay the restitution amount, which is $443.16, and that will be going to Walmart.
All right. Ms. Maz, is that an accurate recitation of the agreement?
It is, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Gidley, will you please raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right. You may put your hand down. Have you heard what the attorneys have said the resolution is in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
And is that how you wish to resolve it?
Yes.
So it's my understanding you'll be pleading guilty to count number 1, retail fraud, 2nd degree. That is a misdemeanor punishable by up to 1 year in jail and or a fine of $2,000 or 3 times the value of the property taken, whichever is greater. In exchange for that, the people will be dismissing count number 2, which is another charge of retail fraud, 2nd degree, arising from June 17th of this year. There's also an agreement that you would pay restitution in the amount of $433.16 to Walmart. Is that your understanding of the full plea agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Back on June 5th of this year, were you on probation or parole?
No,
Were you on bond?
no.
Looking for an advice and rights form, and I don't see one in the file. Ma'am, do you understand that you have the right to have a trial, and at that trial to have witnesses called for your defense at the trial, to cross-examine all witnesses called against you, and the right to testify or remain silent, and that silence can't be used against you. You also on a reasonable doubt. Do you understand those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you also understand that by entering a guilty plea today, you'll be giving up those rights and you won't have a trial of any kind?
Yes.
Other than the plea agreement, has anybody promised you anything?
No,
Has anybody threatened you in any way?
no.
And is it your own free choice to plea today?
Yes.
Are counsel aware of any other promises, threats, or inducements not made part of the record?
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
All right. Then Ms. Gidley, to the allegation then that on or about it'd be June 5th, 2025 in Herring Township of Wexford County, that you committed the offense of retail fraud, 2nd degree while at Walmart. How do you plead?
Guilty.
In order to accept that plea, I must have you tell me what it is that makes you guilty. So back on June 5th of this year, were you in the Walmart here in Herring Township?
Yes,
And did you attempt to, or were you successful in taking property from the store that had a value of at least $200 but less than $1,000?
yes,
And what is it that did you actually get out of the store with the items?
yes.
And what is it that you took?
Basically, it was just groceries.
Okay. And you passed all points of sale?
Yes.
And was it your intent to not pay for the items?
Not necessarily, no.
What do you mean by that?
Ms. Gidley, may I assist?
You may.
And Your Honor, I would just like to create a record. Ms. Gidley suffers from Tourette's. And so I would like just to notate that, especially when she gets anxious or nervous as she is right now.
All
So,
right.
Ms. Gidley, you left the store without paying for the items, is that correct?
Yes,
And you intended on actually leaving without paying for them? I understand that you have impulse control,
yes,
correct? But are you asserting that, do you acknowledge that you took the items and you did not intend on paying for them?
yes,
Okay,
yes, yeah.
okay. And I understand that you do have the impulse control related to your Tourette's and other things, but you're not asserting that as a defense, is that correct?
No.
Okay, so you did exit the store, you took the groceries and you did not pay for them?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
All right. Do you counsel believe that the defendants provided a factual basis in which to accept the plea and that the court rules have been complied with?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
As does the court, I find the plea is knowing, voluntary, and accurate. Ms. Gidley, I find you guilty of retail fraud, second degree in count number 1 pursuant to the plea agreement. Count number 2 will be dismissed at the time of sentencing. Before we go into sentencing, I do have a question for counsel. The 433-16, is that restitution for just count 1 or is that out of both counts?
I believe that's just count 1, Your Honor.
That is count 1, Your Honor, and it's my understanding that Ms. Gidley paid for the items during the second event, so there would be no restitution.
So no restitution requested for count 2.
Is that accurate, Ms.
That's
Gidley?
correct.
Okay.
All right, fair enough. Ms. Moss, any allocution?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, just go ahead and see Ms. Gidley. Ms. Gidley comes before you with one criminal conviction from over 20 years ago. She moved to Michigan after selling her home in Wisconsin. She purchased a house in the area. She's in the midst of renovating it. She's 100% disabled due to various reasons, but the most prominent, she suffered from a traumatic brain injury. She suffers from Tourette's. She has lupus. She has a lot of mental and physical ailments. She's under the care of, are you with a psychiatrist as well, or just a primary care? So she is under the care of a specialist due to these different ailments that she suffers from, Your Honor. Again, that is an excuse for a defense. This impulse control, that is related to, say, her Tourette's, is unfortunately what happened here. And she made a mistake, and she, the first time she called me, she took ownership of it and said, I did this, I need help. She retained my office, and she's been super on it and super willing to admit her wrongdoing, Your Honor. So I would just ask, due to her life and the doctor's appointments and so forth, and because there's a presumption that this is a non-jailable, non-probationary offense, she can pay the restitution, the fines and costs today. I would just ask that you don't put additional things on her already very full plate. I do believe that this is never going to happen again. Ms. Gidley, this has been, I think it's fair to say, a terrifying experience for her. And I can assure you that that's not going to happen again. And she's under the care of providers who are going to help her work through whatever is, caused this behavior in the first place. So with that, I would just ask that you allow her to pay the restitution, fines and costs, and move through this with no probation and no jail.
Thank you. You can have some. Ms. Lawrence?
Thank you, Your Honor. While I do understand the defendant doesn't necessarily have a criminal history, I think what I struggle with here is that this happened twice in the exact same way. And the way that I read this is she did it the first time and realized she didn't get caught, and she got away with it. And she went back almost 2 weeks later and did the exact same thing filled up a grocery cart, went out through the garden center, but this time she did get stopped because the Walmart employee had recognized her from the first time that she had gotten away with it. So while I do understand she does have minimal, if any, criminal history, I wouldn't want this to become a pattern of behavior. I do think a relatively short period of probation with some type of retail fraud class might be appropriate in this situation, just to ensure that the defendant does not do this again. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gidley, you had the right to address the court prior to sentencing. Is there anything you'd like me to know?
I'm very sorry for what I did. Very big learning lesson. And when I got in trouble many, many years ago, I should have known better. Just dealing with a lot of my anxiety. I know that this will never happen again. And I am very sorry. Lesson well learned. I would never do this again.
Your Honor, may I just make one more comment for the record?
Sure.
Thank you. I just, Ms. Gidley was super cooperative with law enforcement. She, that's my reading of it. And again, because there's a presumption, no jail, no probation, and I just have concerns about setting someone up for failure in terms of just how many things she already has on her plate due to her physical health. I would just, again, ask for, and she has all the therapy that there's no additional thing that the probation of the court could bring that she does not already have right now. So I would just, again, ask for fines and costs. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gidley, I have a couple questions for you. How long have you suffered from the impulse control issues that you have?
So
Specifically Tourette's, I would say.
Tourette. So I was diagnosed a year and a half ago with just the Tourette syndrome. It's all new. The Tourette's is more new to me. It's gotten to be a little more complicated as time goes on. I'm trying to figure it out. The rest has been diagnosed for many years.
How many years?
I was diagnosed and put on disability in 2012. So right around that time is when everything was kind of figured out. The rest, the lupus and my brain injury.
When did you suffer from the brain injury?
It started in 2002. And then that's when I got into the trouble that I got into. And then I was out of prison. And that's when I started getting medical treatment for it.
What was the cause of that brain injury? What happened?
The defendant or the person that I was in trouble with beat me in my head.
Okay. So how have you stayed out of trouble? So I show you've got 3 cases. You've got a 97 case and then 2 cases from 2002.
Right.
How have you stayed out of trouble from 2002 till 2025, and what kind of drove you off the rails back in June?
I totally changed my life. Back then I was doing drugs. Just lived a whole different lifestyle in my 20s. I am a totally different person. I have responsibilities. I have animals, disabilities I'm trying to figure out and deal with. And I have a home. I have responsibilities. I do home renovation myself.
Ms. Gidley, I think the question, just may I clarify for her? I mean, I do believe that this is part of the question. He also, I think the judge would like to know that you did such a great job, from 2002 until 2025.
Yeah.
Why this behavior now after so many years of staying out of criminal justice system? And I'm gonna, potentially, does it have something to do with your Tourette's diagnosis, or did something else happen, or just the stressors of your life? I'm not trying to give you an answer. I think that's what the judge is asking, like how you spent so much time without.
I think it was an impulse, and I'm dealing with a lot with the Tourette's. I don't know how to handle it. I have severe anxiety. I just think that kind of just triggered it. And the second time, I do want to say that I was, can I say? No.
Well, I mean, you're free, yeah, sure, but that has already been dismissed, but go ahead. Yeah.
I didn't actually walk out of the store.
And
So
that's-
and when they caught me, I was totally cooperating and I didn't want no trouble, and I felt like I wasn't stealing that second time, and I just feel like it was an impulse thing and dumb and learned. I haven't done any trouble, no traffic, nothing. I stay out of that. I love my life, my peace with my animals and trying to figure out my disability and everything and deal with it, and it consumes me.
The care providers that you're working with now, have you worked with them for a while?
Okay, so I moved here in November 2023. So the ones in Michigan are new, but the other ones from Wisconsin that I had to transfer from, I was with them many, many years. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm just learning all my new doctors, specialists, neurologists. I have like 7 different doctors and psychiatrists and, well, one psychiatrist, but yeah, so I'm getting established.
All right. Now, you have an agreement to repay the restitution, the amount of $433.16. How long do you think that that's going to take you to do that?
I'm gonna pay that today.
You can pay that today.
Yes,
So I'm going to ask you, did you have the ability to pay back in June when all this happened?
yes.
Okay. And Ms. Lawrence, do you have a breakdown of what was taken back on June 5th?
We do, Your Honor. It's in the discovery packet. I can direct you to. Would you like to see it, Your Honor, or?
I would, please.
That's on page. Do you have access to?
I don't, so I'll need. Ms. Lawrence will get it to me.
I think it's page. Oh, if that's the same packet. Page 12 is the breakdown. I approach, Your Honor.
You want to show it to defense?
It's the
district?
ones that I have.
Okay. Well, you covered the field with it. Kitty litter to filet mignon. All right. Well, as defense pointed out, retail fraud, there's the presumption of no jail, no probation unless it's a rebuttable presumption. However, I do not see in the defendant's history anything, while there are some larceny type cases, the newest one is from 2002. So some 23 years ago. In between time, she has kept her nose clean, so to speak. So I don't see the need to place her on probation. It sounds like she might have a grasp as to what's causing these issues and is taking steps. So I'm going to keep this at a fines and cost only. There is a $75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee, $150 fine, $150 court costs. Counsel is retained, $433.16 in restitution to Walmart. And there is 0 days jail with 0 days credit. Ms. Gidley, any balance that remains unpaid for more than 56 days will have a 20% penalty assessed to that just by operation of law. I know you plan on paying that today, but I have to let you know that. Okay. Do you have any questions for me about your sentence at all?
Thank you.
All right. You can go out to the front window where you checked in, get a copy of your judgment and make that payment you plan on making.
Thank you,
All right.
Your Honor.
Best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you.